In this lecture, I'm going to show you a very useful and unique feature of your program. But before doing so, let me just explain something about investing in the stock market. There is a well-known saying worldwide that is used by investors, and it's a very simple statement that says when the tide is in, all ships rise, meaning that if the market is in a bull phase, all shares will tend to rise. However, although an entire market can be in a bull phase, you will find that certain sectors within a market rise faster than others, and indeed, conversely, you will also find that although a market is in a bull phase, certain sectors may in fact be declining. Now there is another very well-known statement that says follow the money, meaning that you should look for those sectors that are actually on the rise in order to look for opportunities, investment opportunities there. Another well-known saying in this one is follow the trend. Now how will you find out about all these things? Well, we made it very easy for you. A very unique feature of this program is found under our Scans program, and if you click on Scans, you select Overall Market View. Now Overall Market View gives you a very quick view how the entire market has moved. And you can look at this from on a day-to-day basis, like on the top it says 1 day, or you can look at it on a weekly basis, monthly basis, or you can go back as far as 5 years. But let me first explain to you what you can see on the graph. On the top here you have little bars with color, and it shows you minus 10% and it shows you plus 10%. In the middle you have a zero line. If you place your mouse key on any one of these little colored blocks, you will see below that the amount of percentage, like this happens to be minus 8%, and this block here on the other side is plus 8%. These colors are again reproduced at the bottom here. We have a zero line, and each of these lines that there is here indicate a section or a sector of the market. And by looking at the block that opens up, you can in fact see which sector of the market it is. So in this particular case, we're looking at the automobiles and parts sector that on this particular day has it changed since, when we're looking at 1 day here, has increased by 3.3%. In other words, this sector had the biggest move within the entire stock exchange within 1 day. You can also see at the same time that this part of the graph is much smaller than that part of the graph. In other words, there are more sectors with declining values than sectors with increasing values. So you can overall get an idea that the entire market based on 1 day hasn't been performing too well since yesterday. By placing your mouse, you get a little line that immediately indicates what sector of the market you are looking at. Let me do this slowly so you can see from the top where we are. Like this particular sector is the Food and Drug Retailers Index. It has changed 0.4% from yesterday to today. Then on the right hand side you'll see a graph or graphical image of that sector. You can immediately see how that graph is performing, how that sector has been performing since October last year in this particular case. Down the bottom here you see the top 5 sectors and the percentages they have performed, and here you see the top 5 or the bottom 5 sectors and the way they have declined. Now we can now also at the top here you can select a time period. You can select to have a look at the graph over a week, a month, 3 months, 6 months, etc. To show you the difference, let's just look at it over 1 week. And now you can see that over the last week the entire market actually has been improving. So that is the last 5 days of trading. If you now look at it over 3 months period, you can see that the whole market actually has declined quite heavily. And if you take this over a longer period, you get a different picture again. So by looking at this graph, you can very quickly identify how the market has performed. Generally, I tend to look at the graph myself, and I'm not saying that it is the correct way, on the daily basis to get a feel of how the whole market is moving, and at the same time I get an idea which of the sectors within the market has actually performed best. This enabling me to very quickly look in those particular sectors for shares that may be an opportunity to be invested again, following the well-known statement of follow the trend. By using this indicator, the very first thing that you look at it in the morning when you open your program after a download is exceptionally useful. Now you can either look at it under price performance, or you can look at it under up days or down days. Now up days or down days give you a bit of a different look graph, that basically how many shares have increased in price over 1 day compared to those shares that have decreased in price. As you can see, this graph looks like 2 solid blocks almost, but again, if you take this over a longer period, let's say over 3 months, those blocks will change quite considerably. So you can see over the last 3 months that the entire market has declined considerably, which is well known because looking at this sector here, for instance, it has declined by 18% over the last 3 months. Please do use this indicator or this scanning facility, because it is a very quick view of how the market is moved on a day-to-day basis, and it can give you a very quick idea and very useful idea in terms of whether you should be in or should be out of the market for this particular time.